Welcome everyone. I'm Iseman with Passport to Pleasure, and this is my monthly live open dialogue. I'm just going to invite our guest this month. One moment. Never know if it cuts out audio or... Excited. I mean, I'm always excited. Every month I'm excited for our guest. And this month is no exception. I am thrilled to introduce you this month to perfect timing. Could not have
Hi,
planned that.
Douglas.
Walking right through the door. This is Susan Bratton. Hi, love. I'm so delighted to be able to have this conversation with you this month. I've been looking forward to this.
I wanted to find out how that event went. You went to an awards
Yes.
ceremony
I have
recently.
had a week of event, a week that feels like a month in the best way. But yes,
Yeah,
I was at like full throttle. I was in Berlin for a sex
yeah,
tech conference, and then I went to the Sexual Freedom Awards back here in London. And
that's
yeah,
great.
it's been nonstop. It was incredible. I had three different friends who were nominated for different awards: best creator, best writer, and best podcast. And so it was just so exciting and such a um, just such an expressive and eclectic group of humans. I love going to events in our space because you just get such an incredible diverse array of human expression, and I just the creativity.
I know.
Like what
Iconoclast.
award show breaks for, best stripper? We got to run through all the candidates, and they're going to show
She
you, of course,
was
why they're
so
nominated. Oh my
pretty.
god.
I
Oh my
mean,
god.
her body was
Just
so exquisite.
yes.
And the way that she moved, I just saw some things, I
Some of
just
the
saw
clips,
yeah,
some
just some
things.
clips, and I was like,
Yes.
wow,
Yes.
beautiful.
The
Yeah, and
strength.
everything was so
Oh,
pretty in their own way. It was like,
exactly.
it was really like this marvelous thing to watch, which I
Yes.
love.
It
Yeah.
was like I said, I'm a sucker for human connection and human expression, and that's why I love this space. Is there's that invitation for all of the above.
Yeah.
So before we dive in, I could
Yeah.
introduce you, but I feel like we half of our time would be me listing all of your accomplishments and your incredible contributions. So I'll just start by saying, everyone, for those who don't know, this is Susan Bratton, intimacy expert to millions. And Susan, I'd love to have you just kind of handpick some highlights to share with folks joining us, whether you're on the live today or tuning into the replay.
Yeah, sure. For the last couple of decades, I've been writing passionate lovemaking techniques and bedroom communication skills because I really like to help people transform having sex into making love. I like hot, heart-connected, conscious, passionate lovemaking. And my area of expertise is orgasmic expansion. So
Mm.
a lot of like the 20 kinds of orgasms and how you can have them. I teach orgasmic activation and orgasmic cross training. I talk a lot about sex tech because there are a lot of different types of pleasure tools that activate different parts of our body and the neural connection from our genitals to our brain so we can actually experience incredible pleasure. So I think those are probably my areas of expertise, but I come from a lineage. I run a publishing company. So I've published 34 of my own books and programs, but I've published 10 programs of my mentors. And I really come from a lineage of sex educators. And Dr. Patty Taylor was one of she was my foremost mentor. I've learned a lot of things from a lot of amazing people, but she really passed her lineages down through me. So I've been teaching a practice called expanded orgasm for decades now. And it's a clitoral stroking technique that doesn't give you just an orgasm or multiple orgasms or even extended orgasms. It gives you this expanded orgasmic experience. It's a path to source, to Gaia, to God, to ecstatic bliss states. And it's a very easy to learn, but it takes a while to get good at practice that's really great for anyone from couples to research partners. And
Mm.
that's one of the things that Dr. Patty taught me about was that research partners are a very good thing to have. And that each lover that we're with has different strengths and turn-ons and experiences that you can have with them. And you could have a research partner just purely for
Yeah.
expanded orgasm practices,
Yeah.
things like that. And then she also taught me about seduction, how to seduce with integrity. Long
Love
before
that.
we knew about responsive desire and spontaneous desire and things like this, Dr. Patty was teaching people how to move their partner toward more pleasure, not to make big offers, but small offers, and how to run menus, and how to understand what seduction is through the 4 keys to seduction.
Yeah.
And that's really what you decided that you wanted to kind of talk about a little bit
Yeah.
today, because you've got a play party coming up.
I
And
sure do.
play parties are very, you know, learning how to use the 4 keys to seduction works just as well when you're trying to get your wife to have sex with you again, and she hasn't really wanted to for a long time, as it is to making an offer at a play party that's going to be really successful, because you're using the 4 keys: vision, vigilance, vulnerability, and small offers. And I think starting with small offers really helps people understand the concept, and then learning about the 4 keys to seduction, because it's a system that works. The thing that's great about sex is that there's systems. Your body is an operating system. You can do certain things to elicit specific responses, whether that's through communication skills, similar to NLP, or it's through lovers' practices like expanded orgasm. Stroke this way, you get this effect.
Yeah.
And so the 4 keys to seduction create the effect of generating trust, having a person feel seen, and meeting them where they are with an offer that is right sized for them, so that they can be an easy yes. Because most people make big offers and they get no's, and then they feel rejected and they don't put themselves out there. So how
Yeah.
do you bypass that whole loop? Small offers.
Yes. I love it. It's actually something that comes up in how I teach consent as well, which of course is very much related to this space as well. If you're going play parties, but it's just as much relevant if you've been married for 10 years, you don't get blanket consent just because you're partners for however long. It's that idea of it as an invitation rather than a request, which small offers are really great for. But if you look at consent as like only a yes, no, hey, I want to do this. Do you want to do that? You
Right.
close the door on so many other things rather than saying, hey, this is what I'm interested in. What are you interested in? And then you leave that door open. It's a similar way of thinking about what you're talking about, the small bids, which is actually like my background is marketing. And I love it's like getting people in that. This is not, well, maybe it's sexy to some of you, it's sexy to me, but getting people in that like sales mindset of like, yeah, I said yes, it's like you said, and then it just keeps building from there. And you're creating that as like an invitation map. And it's so much more of a like collaborative experience when you approach it that way, rather than the view of like, whether it's consent or some version of bid for connection, or you want to get busy tonight, rather than a request, thinking it
Mhm.
as an invitation. It just changes the whole thing. And I'm all about connection. And so much of what you said resonates. For those of you that are joining us who are more familiar with Susan's work, not so much me, I'm Iseman with Passport to Pleasure. I'm a relationship design expert, certified relationship coach, founder of the relationship education platform, Passport to Pleasure, where you can find all kinds of resources to design the best relationship for you. And I also happen to host spicy events. Yes, those kinds of parties. It's exactly why we're talking about seduction with integrity, because my spaces that we create are the container, but they're only as good as the intention and the skills that you bring into them. So I'm so excited to really deep dive into this specific technique and really walk people through how to make the most of, how to use these skills to make the most of, whether again they're going into these, highly immersive events, or they're just at home and they're looking for a little bit more connection. Something that comes up a lot actually with clients that I work with. Couples often come to me at like transition points. Maybe they're considering, divorce. They haven't gotten busy and who knows how long, and they don't know how to get there.
Mhm.
These tools are like such great everyday practices that can build back towards that connection, whatever, relationship design you have.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Well, I think generally, women haven't been societally socialized to initiate sex.
Yeah.
And, and I think it even goes deeper than cultural conditioning. I
Mm-hmm.
think that we like it when it comes to us.
Mm-hmm.
We like offers. We like
Mm-hmm.
receiving those offers. Yeah, the more that we get more confident in our sexuality, the more that we have experience making offers, the easier it is for us.
Mm-hmm.
And yet, there is something, and yes, when we're really good in bed, we like to run the bedroom game.
Mm-hmm.
We like to take charge. We like to, be dominant, if you will. But then when you get past that stage of your life, you get into a flow state
Mm-hmm.
where 1 minute you're in surrender, the other you're in control.
Mm-hmm.
And you're not really even paying attention to that. You've moved from role playing, performative sex,
Yeah, that part.
in into the flow state of bliss, of
Yeah.
just going wherever you want to go. And I think one of the things that makes someone a good lover, like fun to have sex with, is that you never know what's going to happen. There's a level of variety, novelty, possible experiences, and comfort in trying new things that makes it really fun. And therefore it's nobody's running the show. No, there's no I'm the dom and you're the sub or any of that.
Yeah.
You're receiving and I'm giving. All of that goes away and you just start to play and co-create. It's extremely collaborative and switchy and shifty and flowy and all of those things. And I love that because I think that men are lagging a little in that area. And it comes from, again, our culture where guys are expected to initiate, they're expected to know what to do, expected to make the offers. And that puts a lot of performance anxiety on them.
Mm-hmm.
And they feel like they have to close the deal, And part of that is that they want to have sex.
Yeah.
They like very
Understandably, it can be great.
a lot of testosterone coursing
Yeah.
through their system. And so they get very goal oriented and they get, like they're already trying to seal the deal before they've even checked in with you. How, do you need a glass of water?
Yeah,
you know,
exactly.
did you like a foot rub? Would you, how are you doing? How's the lighting in here?
Because it's not being
Like,
seen as a collaboration. It's to your point. It's seen as like getting the thing
yeah,
rather than what are we interested in creating together?
yeah,
What's the journey we're about to go on?
yeah.
And like really inviting that participation from whomever they would like to have that experience with. Yeah.
And when they're focused, and it's not always men, but it's I have to work in the big bell curve of human sexuality and generalities.
Mm-hmm.
There are always edge cases. If you are an edge case, this still counts,
Yeah.
right? But for men, generally, they're very because they're very goal oriented, they're focused on the completion of a task. And
Mm-hmm.
in our culture, the completion of the task is often intercourse. And I love intercourse a lot. As a matter of fact, one of the greatest areas of my teaching is in mutually orgasmic intercourse techniques.
Mm-hmm.
Because the things that we see out in the world in film and adult work are not
No.
the thing that most people are looking for as a way to have a great collaborative experience.
And
That's
unfortunately, it's where most people are getting their education. Right? They need to be
well,
coming
that's
to you.
good. I mean, and I give away that stuff for free.
Yeah.
But what's interesting is that when you're goal oriented toward penetrative sex,
Mm-hmm.
then everything drives toward that. Then foreplay is rushed.
Yeah.
Negotiating boundaries is rushed. Getting comfortable with each other, dropping in, slowing down, connecting hearts, enjoying touch. That all goes by the wayside because there's this bullet train heading for the station.
Yeah.
And that's that's and here's one more thing that I think really contributes to problems, and that is that there isn't enough latitude for men to get hard, go soft, get
Yes.
hard, go soft.
Oh
It's
my
like
gosh.
their
Yes.
job is to complete the deed and they
Yeah.
must stay rock hard and do that, and it's
No.
like
We love a soft cock
all of
here.
these constructs are just
Yeah.
doing such a disservice to joy.
Yes.
And so the more that we can just slow our roll and start with much smaller offers, the better off we are, the better everything becomes.
Well,
So
it's the
running men.
anticipation.
Mhm.
It builds that anticipation, which I think is a really underutilized
Yeah,
aphrodisiac. Curiosity and anticipation. So
yeah.
key.
I think another big thing is that people are now, I'm seeing more and more people becoming aware that
Mm,
women have a much slower arousal ladder. It takes
mm,
us longer to climb our arousal ladder generally.
mm-hmm.
And it was funny. I was recently. This has been the year of explaining yoni massage to people,
Mm-hmm.
and like every year I do the top 10 sex trends for the year, and number
Mm-hmm.
one in 2025 was yoni massage. And I just came back last week. I was at Shailene Johnson's Camp
Mm,
Be More event, and I had
yeah.
the best audience I've ever had, Allie.
Oh, I
Um,
love
they
that.
were, sometimes I'm always a little nervous about a perimenopausal, menopausal women's conference
Could go
because
either way.
those bitches could be bitchy. They could be bitchy, They're like that's not the happiest cohort in the universe at times. They were jumping on
Oh,
their
I
chairs. They were
love it.
screaming for things. And it was funny because one of the women who won one of my giveaways of a yoni massager. I love the Pulse
Okay.
Queen from Hot
Ooh,
Octopus. I'll give a shout
yeah.
out to them. They're a
Yes.
UK brand. You got
Yeah.
to go in and visit them.
I should.
And the Pulse Queen is this vulva massager that penetrates the tissue and really stimulates blood flow to come into the whole vulva so that a woman can get her erectile tissue really rich
Mm.
and full of blood, expanded so it sends more signals to her brain. And the woman who got it said, "So this will help me get turned on faster." And I'm like, "Oh, no, no, no. Don't even
Mm.
think that way.
Mm-hmm.
I want you to be
Mm.
thinking, oh, this is going to help me slow
Mm.
down. This is going to
Mm.
help me
Drop in.
relax.
Mm-hmm.
This is going to help me drop in. This is going to help that blood, my spit run and my
Mm-hmm.
breasts get heavy and my juices run into my genital structures. And so, even if it happens to accelerate the blood flow to your yoni, enjoy the blood flow. Take the
Oh,
whole 20. It's not a long time for you to get ready for more, to figure out what you would like to do next. Stop pressuring yourself to be ready until your yoni's like, "Oh, I'm ready now. Let's go. I want some
begging,
more."
vibrating for it. Yes.
Yeah, so that whole
Yeah.
idea of making small offers, it also, because it slows us down, it also helps us get more turned on. I'm from Pennsylvania. I don't think you even know that about me. I'm from
Oh,
Pennsylvania, and we have the Pennsylvania Dutch there.
oh, you do.
And they
I went to
have this.
college in Philly.
Oh, where'd you go to college?
Drexel University in Philadelphia.
No way.
Yeah.
So did my Uncle Charlie.
But, okay. This is amazing. No one goes to Drexel. There were like 9,000 students when I was there.
I, I used to live
That's
in Drexel
amazing.
Hill.
Oh my goodness.
I know.
Love
Maybe
that.
that's one of the
Yeah.
reasons we just love each other so much.
Yeah. It was like, you're familiar. I don't know why.
I know. That is true for
Yeah.
us, isn't it?
Very,
We've
very,
always,
very
the
much.
minute we met, we fell in love with each other and we've just
Yeah.
deepened our love ever since.
Yeah.
Hasn't it been so nice to get to know each other and support each other?
It really has. And I love I love all the different facets of that too. Like there's so many different ways that we're connecting and supporting each other and lifting each other up and just like I I love that how community oriented you are too. And I'm also just really quick want to invite everyone. This is a love fest, 100% going to be a love fest between Susan and I. Get ready. But also, there is a comment box there. We want to hear from you if you've got any questions. I see a few comments coming in. Interesting perspective there. I'm assuming that was in regards to we love a soft cock. We do. Cocks in all shapes and sizes and statuses sure, where they're at. But yes, this will be a love fest. But for you as well, you are invited to join this love fest.
Yes.
I don't want to get too off track because you just have such a wealth in this space. And I really want to make sure that we make it useful for people. Again, whether you're in, a relationship that's been going for 20 years strong and you're just trying to find how to reconnect, it was in regards to that, I figured. And whether or not you're looking to maybe venture to your first play party or just other kinds of environments, these techniques enrich the journey. And what
Yeah.
we're talking about is getting out of that mindset of destination. Even if you're going to my destination play party in Lisbon in August, the experience is not like this finished point on a map like the venue is. It's really about all the different ways we can connect with ourselves, which is kind of what you're talking about too with that arousal process. It's not about getting somewhere, it's about understanding your body, really getting to feel all the different ways that they can feel in this experience.
Yeah.
That's something I refer to that as sensual empowerment. It's something you were talking about before about when you kind of move beyond those roles and it stops being like performative. This is when you're inhabiting your sensual empowerment. And this is something that doesn't just stay in the boardroom. This impacts everything, or the boardroom, the bedroom to the boardroom. And really, like, I have lived this experience. I have been on an ongoing journey of opening up all the different ways I experience pleasure. And that's not just sexual, but finding the erotic in the everyday, learning how my body takes in information, what feels good, what do I enjoy, what do I release that isn't serving me. That is a process that is pleasurable, that is directly connected by science to longevity as well. Pleasure is actually entering the game finally when it comes to medical research. Very thrilled. I'm sure you have plenty to say about that as well.
Yeah, I call it the fourth factor.
Yeah.
The fourth factor is when we talk about health and longevity, we're talking about not just sleep, nutrition, and exercise, but the fourth factor, which is intimacy. And not just intimacy, not just touch, not just friendship, not just having relationships, but having orgasmic pleasure until the day you die. Because orgasms are there's more than 20 kinds that every Homo sapien can have. And they're all learned skills. You might have learned one or two or three of them. You might be learning your first one now. That's why I teach orgasmic intercourse, because it's all learned skills.
Yeah.
And when you do that, you get better and better and better at orgasming as you age. You get more and more comfortable with yourself, with your body, with making offers, with having more ideas of things to do. You just get to be a better and better and better lover. And those people who are in their 80s and 90s who are still sexually active, and there are a lot of them, they're living not just a longer and healthier life. When you extend your sex span, you're extending your health span. But you're not just extending your health and your longevity, you're extending your happiness and your connection.
Vitality.
I really think like even just the oxytocin that you generate as a sexually active human has so many benefits that are even just like your natural killer cell production, your immune response, the oxygenation of your brain. I mean, all of these things are orgasm related. And so if there's one key takeaway, it's that sex keeps getting better. It's learned skills, and dropping back to remove the pressure and increase the turn on. Let the arousal come on its own. Wait for it. Don't push it. Allow it. And if you are having trouble getting out of your head and into your body, if you're feeling like you're taking too long, you gotta really bring some grace to yourself, because your body has to be relaxed to get turned on. And when you're in performance anxiety, when you're in role play, when you're in this thing where you're doing what you think you should do versus what just you'd like to do. And that's where I think small offers is so interesting, because, it's really this idea that you're looking at biofeedback of your lover. So let's just say you're at your party in Lisbon in August. What are the dates?
August 2nd, Saturday, August 2nd.
Okay, so Saturday, August 2nd, you're at the party in Lisbon. and you're going around and you're talking to people and you see someone and you're like, oh, nice looking person. Wow. And you're almost afraid to talk to them because you think they're so hot that you get shy. You get like, oh God, oh. But somehow you manage to talk to them. Well, what are you going to say? How are you going to handle that? First thing you're going to do is you're going to check in with them. How you doing? How you feeling? Are you nervous? What's going on? Do you want to cruise over to the food table and have a snack together? Would you like to go get a drink? Would you like to join a group? Would you like to sit down and get to know each other? You know, like where are you right now? How can I support you in being more comfortable here and having a better time? I'm interested to get to know you. That I just ran a menu, right? That was a lot of little things, and then I kind of looked at you as I did, and I did that faster than you would do in a conversation. I don't think you're gonna walk up to somebody and like just boom, 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 boom. This is an Instagram live, but just to give you the idea of like, there's a lot of things you can be putting your attention on. You start with putting your attention on the external environment. You know, lighting, are you thirsty? Are you comfortable? How's the temperature? These are good things that you can do at home. Would you like to have me hold you? Would you like a foot rub, a neck rub, a back rub? Would you like to just have a glass of wine and tell me about your day? Would you like a yoni massage? Where are you? You know, are you ready to go? Or are you like still jacked out on the day you had and getting home and, you know, all of those kinds of things. And so whether you're at a party or you're in your own environment, it's noticing. It's small offers require, one of the other keys of the 4 keys to seduction is erotic vigilance. And that means,
I love that.
what's happening? What's going on? It gets you out of your own head and it gets you into your heart and your awareness. It makes you stop and slow down. You're not on that bullet train to penetration. You're now just awake, aware, available for fun, for anything.
Present.
And that's such a nice, it's not only you're present, but you're also noticing. It is a noticing. That's what erotic vigilance is. It's like, where are they?
So it's more keyed in. It's not just being here. It's really keyed in to the person or people you're interacting with.
It is. And it's interesting because when we're in, you know how we have a sympathetic and parasympathetic nervous system, which are great to toggle for really hot orgasms. But what's interesting about it is that when people are in their sympathetic nervous system, which is when they're kind of awake, aware, paying attention, you know, they're paying attention to what's going on. They're reading the vibe. They're in the room. They're not parasympathetic. They're not in the rest and digest, relax, get turned on stage. They're in the awake and aware stage. And the awake and aware, they could be in flight. They could be in fright. They could be in feed, right? They're just like nervously eating, you know. They could be in the other F word, right? Like, let's go. They could be ready, you know, like ready. And so paying attention to the state of their nervous system and helping them move from sympathetic to parasympathetic. So that they can begin to climb the arousal ladder. Taking the pressure, that's what I was going to tell you, the Philadelphia thing, the Amish, what they say is, see, I brought it back, I remember. They say, the hurrier I go, the behinder I get.
That is
it's like
so key in this.
Trying to rush the connection gets you less connection than allowing the connection to develop through relaxation. So many of the small offers that you provide, they also leverage your vision. And your vision is the experience that you have being a lover, knowing how to have someone come sit on your lap, stroke their hair, stroke their thigh, hold their hand, kiss their cheek, give them
Mm,
compliments, look at them adoringly. You know, these kinds of things, these are okay. I can see that they're surrendering a bit, they're relaxing, they're calming down. Now I can up my offers. I can make them a little bigger. They've gotten a number of yeses from them. Yeah, I'd like to have a drink. Yeah, I'd like to sit down and just talk to you. I don't need to join a group. That would be great. Yeah, I'd
mhm,
sit on your lap. That sounds fun. You know,
mhm.
do you want to sit beside me or would you like to sit on my lap for a minute?
Yeah,
Right?
exactly.
Oh,
Yeah.
I want to sit on your lap for a minute.
Mhm. I love
That's what I love my girlfriends to sit on my lap. I'm just like, come on over
it.
here and sit on my lap. And they're
Every
like,
day is Christmas.
okay. It's just fun.
I love all
So,
these
yeah.
points. Oh, sorry, I don't
No,
mean to cut you
sweetheart,
off.
it's okay. Go ahead.
Oh,
Go ahead.
I just to say, like, all these points that you're making is so wonderful because that's why I love this space. That's why I love creating spaces like what we're launching in Lisbon. It's called Cavanos. The theme is Lisbon Wedding Night, and it will be the first of what becomes an annual traveling immersive art play party. Say that 5 times fast. And why I say immersive art is because it's not just about the adult play that may or may not be going on. It's play friendly, but it's really about everything you're talking about. We're creating an entirely immersive atmosphere that's going to inspire you, that will help you have that vision. You'll have all kinds of ideas just laid out in front of you, constant inspiration through all of your senses. There's going to be all these opportunities for those small offers because there's so many things to engage with. It's not this pressure on welcome. You want to
Right.
lay down on this mattress and do what animals do? Like this is a whole immersive experience so that you have all these other avenues to kind of incorporate, again, using that erotic vigilance to really be in that space and tie all that into however you're connecting with whoever you're connecting. It is completely conducive to everything that you're talking about, and it just titillates me to hear it broken down like this. We're on the
I
right
like
track.
structures. Yeah, I like structures. I think
Yes.
structures really help people. After a while, you become unconsciously competent at
Mm-hmm.
running the 4 keys to seduction. You become
Yeah.
a very good seductress or seducer. But really, what you're trying to do is you're trying to help people figure out what will be the most fun for them.
Mm-hmm.
So that's really what making offers is. It's like, how can you help them move toward pleasure? That's your job as the seducer.
Mm-hmm.
And when you help them uncover what might be the most fun, oh, would you like to go watch that Silks act in the other room? Or would you
Mm-hmm.
like to join that group over there and I'll snuggle you? Or would you
Mm-hmm.
just like to go out and smoke some weed in the patio?
Mm-hmm.
Like, where are you? How you doing?
Mm-hmm. A
And
plethora of menu items exist in this space.
and you get better and better at
Yeah,
running them as you practice, like anything.
exactly.
When you're
Oh my
first
gosh.
doing it, you're like, what could I even offer? But pretty soon you
Yeah.
get really good at it. And then you become the really fun person that has the great vibe rather than the person who's just trying to get you
Yeah.
to do something. You're doing things because you want to.
Yeah, you're a collaborator. There is no better lover than a collaborator. That is just, it's exciting, it's interesting, and again, to your point, the curiosity, the constant novelty, and you feel safe. You know you're held. There's a structure. There's a depth. There's a skill set. This is something I talk about a lot too when it comes to relationships, sex, relationships. These are skill sets
Yeah.
that we are not taught, and we're just expected to sort of show up and know how to do this. And if it's not working, it's on you. Well, guess what, folks? You can actually get better at all of this. You can be a better lover, a better partner. These are skills that are learnable, and it's not that painful. It's supposed to be
Yeah.
fun, but it is something that you do need to put a little intention behind and make the effort, and then you can become in that flow state and inhabit your sensual empowerment in all areas of your life and walk into any environment, whether it's your bedroom with your partner or a play party in Lisbon, and know that you own that energetic authenticity for yourself. You know how to create those small offers to create a collaborative sensual experience with whoever you're connecting with.
What does Kavanos mean?
Thank you for asking. It's actually an ancient Hebrew word. It's an Ashkenazi pronunciation meaning intentions. So the
Ooh.
whole idea is, look, we create the space.
Yeah.
We create that structure, but the event is yours. The guests are the ones who bring the intentions into the space. We give you all the tools and inspiration you need. We create as safe and expressive a container as possible, but your intentions that you bring with you are what create the experience that you're ultimately going to have.
What's your opening ceremony going to be like?
How much should I reveal and how much should remain a mystery? So we have actually, I'll do a little teaser. I won't say who, but we are actually a literal art opening, an unreleased immersive art experience, a sensual and erotic art installation that's never been seen before anywhere in the world. It's a collaboration between three renowned artists in the erotic art space, is going to be the premier experience at our party. So this is actually a literal art opening that happens to be play friendly in a historic landmark. It's a Palacio in the center of Lisbon. Wow. And we're going to walk you through. That is the kind of opening experience as you come in, and you actually become a part of the art itself as you enter the space. We've designed this as a white party so that the projection, the lights, everything, all the other elements that I'll keep a little tight-lipped about are going to literally physically incorporate you into the visual audio experience that you're having as you enter the space. And then we also have 3 performances that take you not only deeper and deeper into the physical venue, but also deeper and deeper into how you want to connect with yourself, with other people. How do you want to express tonight? They get a little spicier and a little spicier as the night progresses. And then the evening opens up to whatever play or connection you're interested in. But we have immersive experiences happening throughout the night. There's tasting stations. I won't give everything away, but everything from, shibari suspension, maybe a little creative edible situation that's going to be going on. But we have a lot of really interesting ways. So again, if you want to play, that's available. If there are people who are interested in doing that with you and creating that experience. But if you walk away from this evening not having played in any regard, you're not going to feel like you missed out on anything. Yeah. To your point, again, it's that connection, right? It's what are all the things I'm experiencing? What are all the sensual environments that I'm in? How is it switching on different parts of my body? Yeah. Because this whole thing, this whole saucy flesh bag that you're in can be turned on in different ways. Yeah. And that's what we want to create. So the 3 performances, the theme being Lisbon wedding night, we're effing with the idea of a traditional wedding. We'll put it that way. There's the ceremony, the reception, and then the sauciest wedding night you've ever seen.
This is one of my husband's favorite fantasies.
Oh, no kidding.
Hot bridal sex.
Oh, wow.
He loves that. I have done quite a few bridal situations with him. One of which was in, we have this thing called our Daughters of Perpetual Indulgence here in San Francisco. You probably know that group. And they own a hacienda up in the Sonoma wine country. Oh, and part of the hacienda has a church in it. And I attended a play party there. And I was able to secure the pulpit.
Is that an innuendo, or you mean?
For myself and 2 partners, and I was in my sexy bridal outfit, and we gave that room a good show. Yeah. It was really fun. It was definitely one of the most fun sex party adventures I've ever had.
That's what I love about creating immersive experience, because like you were a guest, but you also, in a sense, were a part of the performance. You were part of the performance. That's for sure. Yeah. That's why, like I don't do stages. I don't have any of that. All of our performances are from within the audience. There's interactive components with all of them. So the audience knows, like, you are here, you are creating this with us. Everyone's a VIP. You made it. You got in. Like, you're here. So yeah.
Oh, what's the URL for the party? What's the URL for Kavanos?
So you can go to Kavanos, which is KAVANOS.life. And I also have that, and there's a link in my bio where the links live, and lots of emails that go out. If you're on my newsletter, you've been getting the little drip information as it's coming out. And if you're not on my newsletter, where you been? Passport2pleasure.com. Passport, the number 2, pleasure.com, to build the relationship. Get the skills and the tools that you need to build the relationships that you want and deserve. Because like Susan and I are talking about, these are skill sets. Yes. These are skill sets. If you are struggling, dating, connecting physically, intimately, like, that's okay. If you weren't taught these skills, it makes perfect sense that you're running up against issues. But these are skill sets that you can learn, get better at, improve, and then it just becomes second nature and how you live your life.
What are you going to wear?
Oof, goodness, I know it's so funny because I have this fantasy of myself as being like I want to have the most epic costume and I'm gonna like commission the thing. It never happens because I'm swept up in like planning the event and I'm gonna look fabulous.
Yeah.
But this is probably gonna be because it's a white party. I want to have probably one or two costume changes.
Yeah.
I'm deciding
Yeah.
how intensive I want it to be.
Yeah.
But there'll be like a more demure beginning to everything where she's sort of
Well, you
hinting
can
at it, like
always
an
just
open.
have layers and stuff.
Exact. I'm a fan of layers. Although it'll be Lisbon in August, so I don't know how many layers. Very thin layers, very thin, strategically placed layers.
Yeah.
But I love me some lace, but I love a little like lace latex combo situation happening. I've got a really nice fitted cowl neck dress that opens up
I
nice
saw
and
that
low
dress.
and displays. Yeah, I took it for a test drive.
Yeah.
If you were watching, I'll be dropping some more content around the award show that I went to this weekend. But I did a little test drive with that dress to see how she looked, and I'm going to get some additional pieces to add to her for this event.
Yeah.
But it's a nice base dress to start building from, and then the layers come off from there.
I like a white, like cupless corset
Mm-hmm.
and thigh high lace top, white
Yeah.
stockings,
Yeah.
and something around my neck, like a
I like a
choker
neck.
or
Yeah.
something, and a veil, like a short,
Mm-hmm.
not a long veil because it gets in the way, like a shoulder length veil,
Mm-hmm.
just a little veil. And I like white lucite shoes, like clear
Ooh.
plastic, clear lucite shoes. I just think they
Mm.
look so pretty. That's my
Oh, you've got
my
it
favorite
you have
bridal
the like
sex.
numbered. Yeah.
You got to have all the parts out, so.
I think I get so like I always want it to be new, so it's like I have pieces. I love a corset. I
Yeah,
love a corset.
yeah.
I like cups because the girls are heavy, so I like them to feel like I like them up there. I like to help them out a little bit.
Mhm.
But I love like a high cut corset with lacing and some nice like sheer fabrics kind of in between.
Mhm.
I love something around my neck.
Yeah.
I'll often opt for like harness or like like a chest piece of some sort. I
Mhm.
really like how that feels. I like having something against my chest, but I don't know that that suits how I'm feeling about this theme. I want to lean into like a softer part of myself because I usually go a little edgier. Like your thigh high, lace would be my thigh high, like latex boots. And so I want to see if is there another version that feels really good. I've been playing a lot more this last year with like softness and kind of taking the edge off myself because I'm very comfortable in like empowered, strong, like so what is my erotic self if I soften those edges a little bit, if I play with different textures and fabrics and I lean into that. It's been a really fun and sometimes uncomfortable journey, but it's definitely something I'm going to lean into for this theme. I
I
like
love it.
that. Yeah.
Fun. It's so much
All
fun to
right.
dress up
Oh,
sexy, and it's so much fun to
no.
make offers, and
Oh
it's
my
so
God.
much fun to be a great lover, and it's so much fun to be a seductress.
And you know what? I love these tools. I'm going to share these tools with folks. So if you're interested in the party and you go to that landing page,
Mm-hmm.
you can submit your application there. You can also just, sign up for it to be waitlisted on the list there. I'll incorporate you and you'll get a link to use these 4 tools of seduction, of integrous seduction,
Yes.
seduction with integrity, because we want to make sure that you have everything you need to enter these spaces or again, bring it back home
With
and
confidence.
reinvigorate that connection with confidence, with play. That's
Bring
my
the
favorite. That's
joy.
why I love exactly like it's supposed to be fun, y'all. It's called play.
Exactly. Great. Well, I
So
love
chime
everything you're
in.
working on, Allie. Thank you
Oh,
so much for having
thank
me. I
you.
love
Of
doing lives with you.
course.
As I
I
was sitting here
love
doing
it.
this live with you, I'm like, oh, I would do this with you like every
Yeah.
week. This is so much fun.
Should we do that again? Should we have a little office hours with me and Susan, just loving on each other, answering your questions?
Talking about our sexy outfits. Maybe we should do them in lingerie.
Yeah, we might get some more views. No, the algorithm loves a corset as well. But I do want to make sure we have time for folks. If there are questions,
Yeah.
drop them in the chat. We've been talking about seduction with integrity. Susan, if you want to run through really quickly just all those different tools you talked about. I know we dropped a lot of information on you guys, and normally we talk a lot about, I'm here for it. I love it. We talk a lot about different relationship tools, but I really wanted to bring Susan in here because we're both about optimization, optimizing life, optimizing your sex span, your health span, your relationship span. All of these elements enrich your life and just optimize your experience. It's a skill set that can be learned, and we want to make sure that you have access to it. So Susan, if you just want to run through really quick, like the bird's eye view, the highlights of all the tools that you went through today.
Yeah, I just really talked about the 4 keys of seduction. It's part of the seduction trilogy that I published for my mentor, Dr. Patty Taylor. And the first is running a menu of small offers. The second is having erotic vigilance, paying attention to where the person is and what might move them toward more pleasure. That's how you make the offers. And then there is vulnerability, which is slowing down, being real with yourself, not expecting that you have all the answers or you know where things are going, being open to that, and also expressing your own desires and not being ashamed of them. And then the last is the vision, and the vision comes from success and experience, trying these things and offering novelty and variety and options and ideas, and becoming a sexy idea generator, knowing what it is possible to offer. The only way that you can get good at that is by practicing. And so running the menu is the great first way to do it.
Yes, absolutely. Practice makes progress, I always like to say. You've got to try it out. Be willing to get a little uncomfortable. That means you're doing it right because it's new. That's okay. Yeah, I love all of that. And the offers too are such a key item as well, just in relationship building in general, whether it's, physical intimacy, emotional intimacy, and also that vigilance, really tuning into like where they're at, where are you guys at in your relationship journey? If you're looking to, add a little different new novelty, new spice, you don't just jump straight into like, hey, I want to tie you up and put you in a cage. If you've never done any kind of like BDSM or kink or anything, you start with those little suggestions. And I always encourage people to come from curiosity with those offers as well. Like, hey, there's this. What do you think? Have you heard about this? Really gauging again where they're at too. It's not just about what you're interested in. It's really about gauging where they're at so you can meet them there. And then that's where you can collaborate. That's where the vulnerability comes in. You're letting them, you need to be vulnerable if you want your partner to be vulnerable as well. So really practicing that. And it is uncomfortable. Look, like I've been doing work like this for a long time. And it's still, I've been, formally in the sex positive space, I guess, since about 2016. But I've been on some, personal development track for probably 10 years prior to that. And it's all related. To me, it's all related. Why I'm so interested in sexuality and relationship is because it comes down to connection. And to me, that's the spice of life. We are not built to be on our own. We are built to connect with each other in community and intimacy in all these different ways. But we have to learn how to do it. And our society has changed a lot. And we need to adapt to that and understand how to get back to those basics so we have those needs met.
Live a long, healthy, happy life with lots of orgasms.
And it's still uncomfortable sometimes. That's kind of what I was getting at, is like, I've been practicing some version of these skills for probably 2 decades now. And it's still uncomfortable sometimes. But the difference is I'm not afraid of that discomfort. I'm not trying to avoid that discomfort, which is a lot of what society tells us, right? Oh, if it's uncomfortable, then it must be unsafe. It's the same thing. And it's not. Uncomfortable means you're trying something new. You're kind of pushing those edges. And that means you're going to grow and you're going to add value to your experience as a sensual being, to your relationship. That is the good stuff. Discomfort, being able to really be comfortable with being uncomfortable, is what I say, is just such an asset to you from the bedroom to the boardroom.
Yeah, it is. Being in uncertainty. And also, a lot of times the discomfort comes from your desire. It's like you really want it to work because you really like that. And I think you have to look at that sensation and think to yourself, well, thank God I like some people, because there are a lot of people who don't even like anybody. They don't even make any offers. They don't see anybody who's interesting to them. They're kind of like in this negative mind space. And
Yeah.
so celebrate the positive mind space of your desire making you a little bit shy and insecure, a little bit
Yeah.
uncomfortable. Putting yourself out there is not easy. Most people don't do it. So
Mm-mm.
the fact that you are even here learning how to do it means you're so far ahead of most other people.
Yeah, exactly. Being willing to get uncomfortable, to admit that you don't know everything and that you're interested in knowing
Yeah.
more. That definitely sets you apart as a lover, as a partner. I mean, these skills, again, I cannot stress to you enough the impact it has in all areas of your life. You will show up differently at work, with your
You will.
family. You will
Mhm.
treat your body differently. Like
Mhm.
everything starts shifting when you start harnessing these tools and
I also
understanding it.
going to a play party, whether you play or not, doesn't
Yeah,
matter. Like,
yeah.
honestly, one of my number one coping mechanisms I recommend for people thinking about going to play parties is go and be a support staff person. Just go and
Mm,
help out. You don't
mm-hmm.
have to go and be like the person up on top of the speaker doing the thing.
Yeah,
You could be clearing dishes.
yeah,
You could be washing
100%,
dishes. You could be refilling the
100%.
toilet paper in the bathrooms. Like, we need all these things. So come and be a support. But what I find generally is that the people at play parties are so more highly emotionally involved, and they've done so much more inner work that they just tend to lift you up to a new level. So even if the only reason that you're going to Cavanos is to put yourself into an environment of people who operate at an entirely different level than probably most of the people in your life, it is worth it for that alone to witness how people love each other in community.
Yeah, it changed my life
Yeah.
going to my first play
Changes
party.
everybody's life.
Complete. I cannot recommend it enough.
Me too.
With the caveat, remove the
Yeah.
pressure. Exactly what you're saying. There's no objective here. There's no expectation
No
other than that you are
report.
honoring your own boundaries and everyone else's and
Yeah.
practicing consent.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
Outside of that, no expectation. You have achieved the goal by just being there and just
You're making
immersing
me want to
yourself.
come to Lisbon, This is, I'm
I
already like,
mean,
I've been hearing there's some cheap flights out there.
I'm going to threaten you
I gotta
with a
dust
good
off
time.
that flight record.
You've already told me how you throw down at a wedding themed play party. So, like, I would love that. All right, vote in the drop a heart. Should Susan come to Lisbon in August? I want to see those hearts rolling in. Oh my goodness. I love chatting with you so much, and I appreciate the wealth of knowledge that you bring. Oh, we got a comment here. I felt more pressure than I thought I would at my first party. I'm so sorry to hear that. And I do want to speak to this really quickly because these spaces are on average much more, like Susan said, much more. There's a lot more personal development going on in these communities
Yeah.
generally than the average house party, or what have you.
Yeah.
However, just like anywhere that, like, I very specifically never say safe sex or safe space, because they're safer. You cannot guarantee everything. Not every play party, not every play community is the same, and unfortunately there are varying degrees of vigilance when it comes to the environment that's being created. So I have a ton of tools on my site, passport the number 2 pleasure.com, that provide you with an overview of like what this landscape can look like, because there's different types of communities. There's poly parties, E&M parties, kink parties. Like, what's the difference between a play party and a sex party? Because in some communities there is a difference.
Mm-hmm.
So understanding all that can help you, and know that if you had not the best experience at your first party, first of all, I'm sorry, that sucks. But know that that's not standard, and that your next experience could be the best thing you've ever experienced in your entire life. Don't let one, unpleasant environment or person or what have you ruin an entire adventure. There is so much out there to explore, and you learn so much about yourself too on that journey. It's awesome even that you realize, A, hey, I didn't like that, and B, oh, I had an expectation of something different. That sounds like a lot of self-awareness, and that sounds like you'll be really served by continuing to explore from an informed perspective.
Yeah.
So thank you very much for sharing that. I definitely, I've been hosting and attending parties of all kinds for almost a decade now, and I've had a lot of amazing experiences, and I've had a lot of like, oh, that was nice. and about a few, uncomfortable things, but it's very net positive from my experience. And I feel a lot safer personally as someone socialized female who identifies as a woman. I feel a lot safer in those environments day to day. I would much rather go to a play party, honestly, than like even like a happy hour at a bar. Like, quite frankly, I feel just a lot more awareness in those spaces than the average. Yeah.
Definitely. Great.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so
Oh,
much for having me,
thank you
Precious.
so
So
much,
nice to
Susan.
see you.
Yes, you too as well. And for those joining, again, this is Susan Bratton, just intimacy expert to millions, encyclopedia knowledge of longevity when it comes to your health span and your sex span, and just go to her. Is the short sell. I will be sharing all the resources that we discussed today as well. Check out the link in my bio. It has more information. And if you're interested in the play party that is launching, again, it's a global traveling annual party, never in the same place twice. Kavanos this year is launching August 2nd in Lisbon. The theme is Lisbon Wedding Night. And I look forward to seeing your applications. Their link is in my bio as well. Thank you so much. And this has been Ali Iseman with Passport to Pleasure, doing my monthly open dialogue. Thank you all so much for joining. And if you're watching the replay, remember, drop it in the comments. If you have any questions that come up, I do check them. We will answer your questions.
We
Thank
will.
you so much again, Susan.
Bye.
Bye.